Survival on a deserted island plus entertainment industry plus abilities plus ancient and modern clothing. In her past life, Xiao Qingran was the Empress of the Northern Xiao Kingdom, who ruled for her younger brother and unified the 7 states with a uniform army and horses. After finally consolidating his throne, he was personally taught and grew up, and the beloved prince poisoned him to death. Regenerated more than 2,000 years later, the fake heiress of a wealthy family was kicked out of the house and completely hacked at the beginning. She possesses extraordinary abilities that can control all things in the world and manipulate human hearts, but she is the only one who cannot see through a man. Luo Jiuyan, in his past life, in order to protect his beloved, avoided his sharpness and accompanied him, even willing to sacrifice half of his soul to help him revive from death. In this life, despite having a strong background and worldly talents, one is plagued by evil energy. The master asserted that he would not live to be 30 years old until he met Xiao Qingran. At the International Unlimited Challenge, athletes from various countries rode on horses with a majestic presence. They raised anesthesia guns and their prey fell one by one, causing the audience to scream incessantly. When the camera zoomed in on Xiao Qingran, everyone sneered disdainfully, "Is she holding a bow and arrow? Such an ancient tool. Coming here to make a fuss." Xiao Qingran rode a peerless horse with a heroic demeanor. With a single move, his prey fell to the ground and rose. Audiences. Asterisk the rebirth of the king, a comeback, and a strong alliance. Keywords of the novel. Rebirth of the fake daughter, she becomes the darling of a wealthy family without a pop-up window. Rebirth of the fake daughter, she becomes the darling of a wealthy family. Complete download of TXT. Rebirth of the fake daughter, she becomes the darling of a wealthy family. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Empress reborn and survives on a desolate island. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Empress reborn and survives on a desolate island. How are you? Are you dead? I saw her fall with my own eyes. In case there's nothing unexpected, what do you think this is? Is this her distress bracelet? Don't worry now. She fell off such a high cliff and now it's pouring rain. Even if the production team finds her tomorrow, she must be a corpse. On the deserted island, there were lightning and thunder, and pouring rain. A muddy person was stuck at the root of a crooked-necked tree halfway up the mountain on a 90-degree vertical cliff. In a daze, Xiao Qingran seemed to hear someone calling her name. When she opened her eyes, she was startled by the environment she was in. Where is this? Isn't she dead? She was originally the princess of the Northern Xiao Kingdom. In order to stabilize the court, she disguised herself as a man and replaced the younger brother of the dragon and phoenix fetus in power, becoming the ruler of the Northern Xiao Kingdom. She ascended to the throne at the age of 12 and held great power at 16. At the age of 18, he began to fight, and at the age of 20.3, he unified the 7 kingdoms and became emperor. After finally consolidating his throne, he was personally taught and raised, and his beloved prince and nephew poisoned him. He died at the age of 29. I didn't expect to wake up again. It had been over 2,000 years, and suddenly her brain had extra memories that didn't belong to her. What is she? Borrowing a corpse to revive a soul. The owner of this body is also called Xiao Qingran, just like her in her previous life. However, the profession that the original owner is currently engaged in was an unremarkable actor in her previous dynasty. In modern times, it is called a celebrity and is sought after by various people. Although the original owner is not even able to count as the 18th line. The original owner is currently participating in the live variety show Week 2-3. This variety show uses live streaming, with a group of celebrities on a deserted island surviving for 2 weeks. It has already aired 2 seasons so far. I also died in the first 2 seasons. However, because the program is truly exciting and highly popular, and most importantly, the winner can also receive millions of cash rewards and top-notch resources. The third season still attracted many celebrities to participate. When the original owner was Miss Xiao of the Xiao family, she worked as the heavens, the earth, and the air, offending many people. Later, it was discovered that she was a fake heiress who refused to leave the Xiao family and even caused the real heiress to roll down the stairs and stay in the hospital for half a month. Xiao, the head of the Xiao family, issued a nationwide notice to sever ties with her and force her to change her current surname Xiao. She didn't give up and kept pestering her former fiancé, Wei Zishu. Wei Zishu was extremely angry. Under the instigation of the real daughter Xiao Yurua, he secretly registered for the original owner in the name of the agency and participated in this reality show where he signed a life and death contract. Once you sign the contract and go to the island, life or death is at stake. The original owner couldn't afford a penalty of 1 billion yuan and had to grit his teeth and board the helicopter. 3 hours ago, she and 9 other guests were thrown onto the island by a helicopter. Each person has a backpack, which includes a bread, a bottle of water, a dagger, and a lighter. Each person is given an identity card the size of a playing card and a locatable distress bracelet. This time, there were more guests participating in the program than the previous 2 times, a total of 100 people, each in groups of 10, and were randomly thrown by helicopters in different places on the deserted island. After 2 weeks of survival, whoever has the most cards in their hands is the big winner this time. The original owner was used to being lawless and lazy in the Xiao family, unable to carry his hands or shoulders, and was considered a level 10 disability. Not long after arriving on the island, I had an argument with a female guest named Lu Lily from the same group over a small matter. Later, the team leader assigned the original owner and Lu Lily to search for food together. An hour ago, it suddenly rained heavily on the island. At the edge of the cliff, Lu Lily deliberately angered the original owner and took the opportunity to push him off the cliff. When the original owner fell off the cliff, Lu Lily viciously removed her distress bracelet. Xiao Qingran guessed that the original owner was scared to death when he fell off a cliff. Although she is alive now, her situation is not good. If you are not careful, you may fall to pieces. Just as Xiao Qingran was struggling to escape from the heavy rain above her head. With a click, Xiao Qingran heard the sound of the broken roots of the tree that were stuck in her. Her face couldn't help but turn pale, and her whole body rolled towards the cliff. Perhaps her life should not have ended, she was stuck again. This time she was stuck by a century-old thick, horizontally growing pine tree. Behind the pine tree, she saw a cave that was half a person high. At this moment, she tightly embraced the branches of the pine tree, and beneath her was a vast abyss. She crawled forward with all her might, her hands bleeding profusely and her whole body feeling weak and powerless. After about a quarter of an hour, Xiao Qingran finally struggled to climb to the entrance of the cave. She breathed a sigh of relief and dug open the weeds in front of the hole. As soon as she reached her head into the hole, her hand slipped and she fell into it. The cave was pitch black, and I couldn't see my fingers when I reached out. Xiao Qingran felt like she was constantly falling. She reached out and didn't catch anything. After falling like this for 4 or 5 minutes, Xiao Qingran suddenly felt a soft sensation and heard a muffled groan. It seems to have hit something. Xiao Qingran's first reaction was, it wouldn't be so coincidental, he smashed a wild boar to death. When I touched it, it turned out that it was not the fur of an animal, but a person wearing clothes with warmth on their body. And she touched a row of hard abdominal muscles. Xiao Qingran was suddenly startled and immediately supported the ground, rolling to one side. The cave was too dark, and Xiao Qingran couldn't see anything clearly. She could only kick the opponent carefully with her foot and said, "Are you okay?" I asked a few questions, but the other party didn't respond much. Xiao Qingran guessed that this person must have been knocked unconscious by himself. She was so tired that when she rolled down, she was scratched by the stone wall on the cliff, and now she just wanted to rest for a while. She groped for a moment, leaned against the stone wall, and quickly fell asleep. After an unknown amount of time, Xiao Qingran was awakened by the sounds of animals. When she opened her eyes, she saw a pair of eyes in the darkness, with different colors, as if they were about to eat her eyes. Oh, oh, oh. Hiss, hiss. Roar, roar. 1, 2, 3. Xiao Qingran silently counted the animals around her, at least 100 or 10. They bared their teeth and stared intently in her direction, ready to take action. It's like being able to pounce and take a bite at any time. Xiao Qingran couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. In her past life, she was able to face millions of enemy soldiers calmly. But these wild beasts in front of her gave her a bad feeling. Just as she was thinking about it, suddenly a gray fox rushed towards her. Xiao Qingran's expression trembled and he quickly swung his fist. A punch hit the fox's head. The fox let out a mournful scream and flew backwards. Other animals couldn't help but retreat one by one when they saw this, but they still stared in her direction. Xiao Qingran's eyes were alert, and he immediately concentrated his energy, intending to use the technique of beast control to drive these wild beasts away. However, as soon as she regained her focus, her brain immediately pricked like 10,000 needles. She tried again, her eyes darkened and she almost fainted. Xiao Qingran felt an inexplicable panic in his heart. Did her supernatural powers disappear? In her past life, she had strong spiritual power, able to control all things and manipulate the human heart. Is it possible that after being reborn, she will become a useless person with no strength to bind her hands? Time passed by minute by second, and no more animals pounced on Xiao Qingran. They seemed very restless, constantly digging on the ground with their front paws. Make a whimpering sound in your mouth. A beam of moonlight suddenly shone down from the opening above, illuminating the cave with a faint glow. Xiao Qingran instinctively looked back and couldn't help but squint her eyes in surprise. Behind her, there was a handsome man dressed in black, with his head tilted and leaning against his whole arm, as if he had fallen asleep. P.S. 2023, a new beginning. Wishing everyone a happy new year and good health. Still the same as before, after opening a new book, keep updating and never abandon the text. Update steadily every day until completion. Add the ones you like to the bookshelf first. There are already 6 completed articles. If you find this update slow, you can start by reading other completion books. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Familiarize oneself with the profile of the bone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Familiarize oneself with the profile of the bone. At this moment, the man's whole body was shrouded in a layer of black mist, making it impossible to see his appearance clearly. The black mist on his body seemed to be alive, swimming throughout his body. The black mist seemed to be sucking blood, absorbing the breath from the man. Not right. Xiao Qingran saw with her own eyes that under the moonlight, a black mist drifted from somewhere and directly penetrated the man's body. Although the man is unconscious, his body keeps twitching. At this moment, the man's breath became weaker and weaker, as if it was about to disappear. What exactly is going on? What are those black mist? It seems to be eating away at a man's life. Realizing this, Xiao Qingran's heart was filled with stormy waves. How could there be such a poison in this world? There was a group of wild beasts who were about to eat her, and then a man who was entangled in poison. The supernatural powers couldn't be used, and Xiao Qingran felt extremely dangerous and dared not act recklessly. At the same time, cast an apologetic gaze at the man. If she hadn't knocked the man unconscious, perhaps he wouldn't be in danger now. She just wants to save now, but she doesn't know how to do it. At this moment, a basin-sized irregular black mist made a ghostly sound and rushed towards the man. Xiao Qingran instinctively swung a punch. She thought she would empty out, but to her surprise, the black mist let out a mournful scream when it touched her fist, and then disappeared in front of her at a speed visible to the naked eye. Xiao Qingran's eyebrows twitched with an unreal feeling. Isn't that black mist eliminated by her fist? Are they afraid of her fist? Thinking this way, Xiao Qingran immediately swung his fist and hit the man. Sure enough, wherever the fist went, the black mist quickly disappeared as if encountering a nemesis. Xiao Qingran felt secretly happy and immediately retreated to the man's side. Her hand had just touched the man's arm, and the black mist covering his body seemed to have been purified, but in the blink of an eye, it quickly disappeared. Exposed the man's profile that made Xiao Qingran familiar to her bones. Xiao Qing ran forward and hugged the man in her arms, her eyes turning red. Jillian Jun, is it really you? Is it that heaven pities them? In the previous life, due to status reasons, they couldn't be together, but in this life, they were allowed to continue their relationship. Just as she was lost in thought, several wild beasts suddenly rushed towards Luo Jillian. Xiao Qingran's expression remained unchanged, her eyes as cold as ice. In this life, she did not allow anyone to harm Luo Jillian, even animals. She carefully placed Luo Jillian on the ground, took off the backpack behind her, and placed it on his head. Quickly stood up and started fighting with a few animals. Although this body is very young, it's a pity that the original owner doesn't like sports and is lazy to death. His whole body is stiff like a puppet. In just a moment, Xiao Qingran was so tired that he gasped for breath. I was scratched several times by animal claws on my body. After being entangled for half an hour, Xiao Qingran felt dizzy and physically exhausted, and could collapse at any moment. If it were her alone, she could have found an opportunity to escape. But these beasts are coming towards Luo Jillian. Even if he dies, she will still protect him. More than an hour later, Xiao Qingran was once again thrown to the ground. A wolf over 2 meters tall, with its big mouth open, bit down at her neck. At this moment, Xiao Qingran didn't even have the strength to raise his hand, he was just fighting instinctively. She was covered in blood, her hair sticking to her face, like a wild man. When Duo Cho rushed in with more than a dozen people, he was almost blinded by the scene in front of him. He shouted to Xian Yun, quickly, save someone first. The wolf that pounced on Xiao Qingran was shot and killed by Xian Yun. Xiao Qingran fell to the ground and never remembered it again. As she closed her eyes, she heard the little monk say, "Thank goodness, junior brother is still alive." When Xiao Qingran woke up again, she found herself lying in a camouflage tent, with her clothes changed and several bandages wrapped around her body. She had just sat up when the tent was suddenly lifted up. A figure with a strong aura, cold and noble, tall and familiar, walked in. "You're awake." The man had a deep voice, his starry eyes like vast stars, and he looked at her with a faint gaze as the sky was filled with starlight. Xiao Qingran's heart twitched slightly as she looked at the familiar face in front of her and tentatively asked, "Jillian Jun." The man's eyebrows twitched, his eyes narrowed and he lowered his expressionless gaze, "Do you know me? I am Xiao Qingran." In her past life, the name of Princess Beixiao was Xiao Qingran. Only Luo Jillian, who has been by her side all along, knows her true identity. After speaking, Xiao Qingran stared at the man's eyes without blinking. "I want to see familiar things in his eyes, so it's Miss Xiao from the Xiao family." The man's voice suddenly became cold and enveloped in a subtle sense of alienation. "Thank you for saving me yesterday. You can contact me anytime for any compensation you want." Luo Jillian handed out a note with his phone number written on it, then turned around and left the tent. Xiao Qingran's heart was filled with disappointment. He is not her 9-yen lord. She gave herself a self-deprecating smile. It was an accident that she was able to resurrect herself with a corpse, and she still hoped that Luo Jillian would be like her. I don't know what medicine they used for her, but her injuries healed quickly. "Miss Xiao, this is your clothes that have been washed and dried. I know you are currently participating in a variety show, and we are about to leave here. Do you choose to stay or go back with us?" If you don't want to continue participating, we will help you pay the penalty for breach of contract. Xianyun took Xiao Qingran's previous clothes and delivered them to the tent door. No need, I'll stay. Xiao Qingran saved people at that time only because Luo Jiuyan and her Jiuyan Junchang were the same. She doesn't want the other person to thank her for anything. Moreover, since she knows that the other person is not the one she is looking for, she has no intention of having any interaction with them in the future. The reputation of the original owner is so bad in the imperial capital that it cannot be further tarnished. Anyone who gets infected with it may be criticized. Now that she has occupied this body, she naturally needs to refresh and abandon her previously bad reputation. She will continue to participate in variety shows. Changing into her own clothes and carrying a backpack, Xiao Qingran planned to leave and search for her teammates. She will not forget that there are still people in her team who want to kill her. Almsgiver, I'm worried. Can you come back with us? Becoming a celebrity is not a good thing. I'll hire you to be my junior brother's bodyguard with a monthly salary of 10 million. How about that? The little monk, with red lips and white teeth, now eagerly stood in front of Xiao Qingran, his hands clasped together, full of sincerity. I'm not that skilled, I can't be a bodyguard. Xiao Qingran gave a faint smile and nodded at Duocho. You don't need to have such good skills, as long as you stay by my junior brother's side. If you feel that a monthly salary of 10 million is too low, we can discuss it again. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. We'll definitely kick her out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Will definitely kick her out. I was worried to see that Xiao Qingran had no intention of staying, thinking that the salary he was offering was not worth it. I was so anxious that I scratched my ears and cheeks. No need, thank you. Xiao Qingran waved his hand towards Duocho and strode in one direction. When her figure disappeared, Duocho complained to Luo Jiuyan, who had been standing behind him for an unknown amount of time, "Junior brother, did you just let her go? Although I am not as good as master, I can still see that she carries the aura of an emperor. She is likely your destined companion. Master once calculated that you will not live to be 30 years old. And if you can meet someone with the imperial destiny at the age of 20.9, perhaps you can change your luck." Last night, not to mention how difficult it was to deal with the 110 wild beasts attracted by the evil energy. Even I cannot protect you before Xianyun comes, but she did. Last night's calamity was your death calamity, and Xiao Qingran was your life-saving benefactor. If not, you should have left her by your side. It's not far from your junior brother's 30th birthday. Does she carry the aura of an emperor? Luo Jiuyan's expression changed indifferently. No wonder he can see through everything, but suddenly he can't see through her. Although he was unconscious yesterday, he was still conscious. After Xiao Qingran approached him, the huge evil energy entwined around him suddenly disappeared, and his body never felt relaxed before. It made him greedy for a moment and he actually fell asleep. As for kicking him and touching his abdominal muscles, he automatically ignored it because Xiao Qingran had saved him. He had met Xiao Qingran several times before at the Chu family, but his impression of her was not very good. Perhaps due to preconceived reasons, he doesn't have a good expression towards the current Xiao Qingran. The previous Miss Xiao of the Xiao family was just an ordinary person. Now, Xiao Qingran's destiny is Ziwei Xingge, the emperor's destiny. According to her master's calculation, she is your destined companion. If you miss her, with your destiny as the heavenly demon Lone Star, you will be destined to be lonely for life in the future. And now, like you, I cannot calculate your future. Duo Chao's expression was particularly serious. Luo Jiuyan's starry eyes sank slightly and he said, "She will contact me." Given Xiao Qingran's current situation, he absolutely believes that she will come to him again for compensation. Amitabha Buddha, junior brother, don't be too confident. Look at what that is, said Duo Cho, his hands clasped together in sorrow and unfathomability. Duo Cho pointed at the note that was swept up into the sky by the wind, looking gloating. Luo Jiuyan. He suddenly felt something, as if it was out of his control. After a few seconds of silence, Luo Jiuyan looked at the guard officer Xianyun standing by and asked coldly, "Who took my life this time?" Upon hearing this, Duo Cho immediately looked over. He also wanted to know which fool would suddenly attack his junior brother. "Master, it's Chu Lauer, your second uncle." Xianyun reported solemnly, "They bribed the pilot to commit suicide and crash with you. The pilot was diagnosed with a terminal illness a week ago and wanted to seek some benefits for his family before he died." Luo Jiuyan lowered his starry eyes and said, "Old Li is very healthy. The physical condition of the people he needs around him cannot escape his clear eyes." Oh, so to put it this way, that's the conspiracy that Chu Lauer had planned long ago. Usually, he cares about his junior brother and wants to treat him like his own son. A mocking expression on Duo Chao's face. He wants his son to replace me. With just a slight guess, Luo Jiuyan guessed Chu Lauer's intention. After all, the Chu family is now under the control of this outsider with a different surname. Even if his mother's surname is Chu, the Chu family will not treat him as their own. Even though he saved Mr. Chu and made the almost bankrupt Chu family group the leader of the 4 major family groups within 6 months. In the eyes of the Chu family, he is just a person who dominates the Chu family and has wolf-like ambitions. Luo Jiuyan raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Duo Cho looked disdainful and said, "Chu Dingxian, that useless person who only knows how to find women," handed over Chu Shi to him. "In less than a month, Chu Shi will definitely go bankrupt. Just a Chu family, in the eyes of his junior brother, nothing. If it weren't for repaying the nurturing kindness of the Chu family for his mother, my junior brother, as the leader of the world's 3 major financial conglomerates and the ruler of the Yudao Luo family's conglomerate, would he stay in this small imperial capital? The Chu family's group of white-eyed wolves, junior brother shouldn't care about them. We'll leave once we find any clues about my father." What the Chu family did ultimately chilled his heart. As for Xiao Qingran recalling the incomplete scenes in each of his dreams, Luo Jiuyan was slightly lost in thought. Xiao Qingran didn't go far when she met her teammates who were looking for her. At this time, the drone is broadcasting live. Seeing Xiao Qingran, a group of young men and girls gathered around. "Finally found you, are you okay?" Captain Lu Shihan, 22 years old, has debuted for 1 year. "I starred in a fairy tale drama when I first debuted last year. It became popular overnight and became a hot traffic star. He is very rigid and serious, treating everyone equally." "It's okay." Xiao Qingran nodded at him. Glancing at Lu Lily, who was hiding at the back with a shocked expression on her face. "It rained too heavily yesterday, and the captain asked us to come and find you today when the rain stopped. I didn't expect you to fall off such a high cliff and be fine." The woman named He Fanghua exaggerated her big round eyes and looked at Xiao Qingran. "How did you know I fell off a cliff?" Xiao Qingran glanced at Lu Shihan and asked as if unintentionally. Regardless of the reason why Lu Jihan did not contact her, she recorded this account. This. He Fanghua hesitated and couldn't explain why. She glanced at Lu Lily, who was pretending to be invisible, with a corner of her eye. Seeing that the other person didn't look at her, she immediately blushed with grievance and choked up as she looked at Xiao Qingran. "It seems like I have suffered a great deal of injustice." Based on Xiao Qingran's years of experience in seeing people. Intuition. This woman has a problem. Speaking of which, before she was 12 years old in her previous life, she was still the ancestor of palace intrigue in the harem. For this kind of white lotus who pretends to be weak and innocent, she has plenty of means to punish. However, there is currently no chance. Once she seizes the opportunity, this woman will definitely be kicked out. Of course, she didn't forget that there was also Lu Lily who took her life. Before attending the program, there was no conflict between the original host and Lu Lily, and they didn't even know who she was. According to previous conspiracy theories, Xiao Qingran speculated that this woman must have been instigated by others to harm her. As for who it is, she doesn't want to know. Anyway, she won't let go of anyone who wants to harm her. I didn't hit you or scold you, so why are you crying? It's because I came back and you were so happy, crying with joy. Xiao Qingran looked at He Fanghua with an indifferent expression. The other teammates looked over curiously. I am. He Fanghua clearly did not expect Xiao Qingran, who has always been as foolish as a pig, to suddenly ask such sharp questions. She didn't react for a moment, her throat seemed to be blocked, unable to say a complete sentence, and could only silently shed tears. It looks very aggrieved. On the live barrage, it was quiet for a few seconds. What situation did Xiao Qingran start working again as soon as he returned? It's really unlucky. Seeing Xiao Qingran's face made me feel nauseous. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The whole network is cracking down on her. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The whole network is cracking down on her. Alright, don't cry. Since Xiao Qingran has returned to the team, we should all unite and look for food together. To prevent being left alone and having our identity cards stolen by other teams, we must not leave. Lu Jihan gave a meaningful glance at He Fanghua. We all listened to the captain. 10 people only got to know each other yesterday when they boarded the plane, most of whom were unfamiliar. Lu Jihan was the captain selected by everyone on the spot after getting off the plane. Let's work together with Xiao Qingran. Lu Lily took the initiative to stand up and walked up to Xiao Qingran, reaching out her hand. Xiao Qingran stared at Lu Lily with a smile on her face and said, "Where's my distress bracelet? Can you give it back to me?" Lu Lily didn't expect Xiao Qingran to be so direct. She was afraid that she would reveal the fact that she had pushed her off the cliff yesterday, and she suddenly panicked. I. Lu Jihan walked over with a serious expression and said, "Didn't you hold Xiao Qingran's distress bracelet yesterday? Now that she's back, just give it back to her." Yesterday, after the original owner was pushed off the cliff, Lu Lily rubbed around and only found Lu Jihan when it was dark. She felt guilty and blamed herself for not holding onto the original owner and accidentally pulling off his distress bracelet. This matter is known to all members of the team, including netizens. If Lu Lily doesn't return the distress bracelet to Xiao Qingran now, it won't make sense. But Lu Lily just doesn't want to take it out. Xiao Qingran is not dead, how could she return such an important life-saving item as the distress bracelet to her? Give her a chance to go back alive. I accidentally lost it. Lu Lily covered her face and burst into tears. I didn't mean it. It rained so heavily yesterday, and I accidentally dropped my bracelet somewhere. She cried so sadly, and netizens immediately defended her. This despicable Xiao has been doing nothing since he came back, who's in the same group as Xiao Qingran, who's unlucky. Just got back and started causing trouble. I want to fast forward when I see her. Lu Lily is still crying, and one of her teammates can't bear to watch anymore. Xiao Qingran, what's wrong with you? Lily accidentally took the bracelet yesterday to save you. Now that the bracelet is lost, it's not her fault. Why are you so aggressive? Lu Jiehui approached with pity, gently wiping away the tears from the corners of Lu Lily's eyes, and glaring angrily at Xiao Qingran. Huang Yaowei, Chen Beiqin, Jiang Mingwei, and 2 other group singers, Wu Fei and Che Yi, all looked coldly at each other without saying anything. This was within Xiao Qingran's expectations. Perhaps the image of the original owner has long been deeply ingrained in people's hearts. No matter what Xiao Qingran does or says, in their eyes, everything is wrong. No one will say a word for her. Xiao Qingran glanced at Lu Jiehui, who was about to stand up for Lu Lily, with slightly deep eyes. Today is only her second day on the island, and she has plenty of time to change everyone's perception of her. However, she didn't intend to easily let go of those who had malice towards her from the beginning. These people are clearly here to survive, wearing suspenders and hot pants that expose their arms and thighs one by one. Those who don't know think they are here for tourism. Fortunately, when the original owner left, her grandmother forcibly washed off her manicures, cut her long hair short, and even forced the original owner to wear camouflage long-sleeved pants. Otherwise, Xiao Qingran would really not be able to accept the current aesthetics. Don't blame Xiao Qingran. Without the distress bracelet, her safety is not guaranteed. She must not have done it intentionally just now. Afterwards, I will work with her, and if there is any danger, I will give her my distress bracelet. Lu Lili blinked her sincere big eyes and stepped forward to pull Xiao Qingran's arm. Xiao Qingran frowned and instinctively took a step back, pulling back his arm. Lu Lili took a moment to leave, but due to inertia, she fell to the side and slammed her head against the big tree, making a loud bang. Everyone looked over in shock and saw that Lu Lili's face was covered in blood. Not only was her nose crooked, but her sharp chin suddenly square up, looking simply shocking. Ah! He Fenghua screamed and ran forward anxiously to help Lu Lili and cover her up. Xiao Qingran, you're going too far. Why did you harm Lili? Lu Jiehui clenched his fist and without saying a word, he hit Xiao Qingran's head. He suddenly made a mistake, which caught everyone off guard. But no one tried to stop him, more of a desire to see Xiao Qingran suffer. Who wants Xiao Qingran to cause trouble as soon as he comes back, not to worry at all? Oh my god, it's starting to fight, kill Xiao Qingran, this troublemaker. If my Lili disguises herself, let her go to jail. Xiao Qingran should be expelled from the team and allowed to rise and fall on her own. Kill Xiao Qingran and let her die directly on the island. No one can tell that Lu Lili has undergone plastic surgery. Isn't she claiming to be a natural beauty? Isn't it because of Xiao Qingran that Lili broke her face? Lu Jiehuiban thought that a punch would be enough to teach Xiao Qingran a lesson, to be honest in the future and not to do any more tricks. Unexpectedly, his imposing punch was easily deflected by Xiao Qingran's gentle tap. Not only that, the place that Xiao Qingran had patted was sour, numb, and painful, as if being bitten by 10,000 mosquitoes. What have you done to me? Lu Jiehui stared at Xiao Qingran with ill-intentioned eyes. The other teammates exchanged a glance at each other, looking at Lu Jiehui's hands, without even a red mark. They couldn't help but glance at him, who was shouting loudly, and all their sympathetic gaze fell on Xiao Qingran. Damn it, it really started fighting. Fake Qianjin is fake Qianjin, it's really rude. Shouldn't the production team report to the police and capture Xiao Qingran at this moment? In just an instant, the number of people in the live broadcast room of Xiao Qingran's team suddenly exceeded 10,000, from a few thousand. Moreover, the number of people is constantly increasing. Deputy Director Yu Qingze held his phone and showed Director Chen Hong the hot search on the internet. Xiao Qingran's program Dry Rack stood out from the crowd and ranked first in the hot search. Chen Hongmu stared blankly. This is only the second day of the live broadcast. Xiao Qingran, who was forcefully pushed in, unexpectedly exploded with the collected cannon fodder. His excited mouth grinned to the base of his ear. At first glance at the ratings, I almost fainted with joy. Quickly, send another drone to follow and take photos of Xiao Qingran. Now that there are hot searches and ratings, if he keeps doing this, won't he make a fortune? He needs to think about how to make the traffic explode again next. At this time on the island. What kind of eyes are you looking at? It's this slut. She used some kind of magic, and my hands are almost in pain. Lu Jiehui disregarded his image and insulted Xiao Qingran, extending his intact hand to sway back and forth in front of everyone. Alright, that's it for now. It's getting late, we should go search for food. Lu Jihan saw that Lu Lily's injury was not serious, and that her nose, which had been fixed, looked frighteningly crooked. With a cold face, he signaled everyone to leave quickly. Xiao Qingran nodded and said, "I just got up because of me, so let me take care of Lu Lily." After she finished speaking, she walked over and held on to Lu Lily's arm, following at the back of the line. Lu Lily struggled a few times in a panic, but couldn't break free. She was about to curse Xiao Qingran to death in her heart. "Don't worry, I will definitely take good care of you," Xiao Qingran said, using a dark energy, pressing on the acupoint on Lu Lily's arm. "Ah, Xiao Qingran, what are you doing?" End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Someone wants to live live on Inversion and eat shit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Someone wants to live live on Inversion and eat shit. The sudden pain made Lu Lily unable to hold back for a moment. She screamed loudly and instinctively pushed Xiao Qingran to the ground. This scene was captured from the front of the drone. For Lu Lily's fierce expression just now, netizens were so scared that they forgot to even post barrage comments. "What's going on between you two?" Lu Ji's face was cold, impatiently staring at Xiao Qingran and Lu Lily. Xiao Qingran struggled to get up from the ground and calmly patted the dust on his body. He spoke lightly, "It's okay, I accidentally fell just now." "You're talking nonsense. It was you just now, it was you." Lu Lily saw everyone looking at her with a mocking look. Suddenly, there was a feeling of mute-eating yellow lotus, with an indescribable bitterness. She was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. Netizens also feel quite ashamed of her sudden behavior. To be honest, just now Xiao Qingran didn't do anything, and I saw with my own eyes that Lu Lily deliberately pushed Xiao Qingran to the ground. Although Xiao Qingran is not a good person, it was not her fault just now. I didn't expect Lu Lily to be such a person. I used to misread her. Are the people upstairs the navy bought by Xiao Qingran? Lily is so kind, it must be that Xiao Qingran did something excessive. Is there anyone who idolizes Xiao Qingran like that? Come and wash the white for Xiao Qing, all roll. At this moment, watching the barrage of the live broadcast, netizens gradually appeared to speak up for Xiao Qingran. Xiao Yurua, holding her phone, flashed a sinister light in her eyes. Lu Lily and He Fenghua are two useless people. In vain, she found someone to arrange for them to be together with Xiao Qingran, but surprisingly, she still couldn't kill Xiao Qingran and even made him stand out. Xiao Yurua angrily smashed her phone and left the room. "If you look so ugly, are you sick?" Wei Zishu had just arrived at the Xiao family when he saw Xiao Yurua's pale face and walked over worried. "Brother Zishu, sister has been on the hot search again, and her distress bracelet has been lost. What if she encounters danger on the island and the rescue team of the program team cannot locate her?" Xiao Yurua grabbed Wei Zishu's arm with a worried expression, her face full of anxiety. Wei Zishu's eyes flickered and he looked at Xiao Yurua with pity. "Roa Roa is kind. She has done so many wrong things to you, and you still think for her. Anyway, sister is innocent. I don't want my sister to become even crazier because of my reasons." Xiao Yurua lowered her eyelids slightly, and her eyes fell silent. From Wei Zishu's direction, one can see Xiao Yurua's guilty expression. He moved his heart and his eyes became softer. "Since you are so worried about her, I will personally contact the director of the production team and ask them to send a new distress bracelet to Xiao Qingran." Xiao Yurua's heart twitched, and she lifted a pair of joyful eyes as if nothing had happened. "Brother Zishu, you're the best. If we could also know our sister's location, once something happens to her, we could rush to save people before the production team." Xiao Yurua looked at Wei Zishu with an expectant expression on her face. "Okay, you just need to sponsor 1 billion more. I will have the director send me the positioning system for the distress bracelet." There was a hint of icy killing intent hidden in Wei Zishu's eyes, but a warm smile hung on his face. It seems that if Xiao Qingran does not die, the Xiao and Wei families will never have peace, and he will never be able to be with Xiao Yuruo. Fortunately, in the beginning, Xiao Qingran signed a contract with an entertainment company under the Wei group for him. In his hands, he had a way to keep Xiao Qingran on the deserted island forever. At this moment, on the island. I'm sorry Xiao Qingran, I didn't mean to. Under pressure, Lu Lili reluctantly apologized to Xiao Qingran. Xiao Qingran waved her hand with great magnanimity and spoke calmly, "It's okay, didn't I say I fell myself?" That tone is quite sincere. The other teammates who watched the scene and the netizens online didn't know what to say for a moment. I always feel like I'm holding my breath. 2 hours later, Xiao Qingran and his team finally met a wild rabbit searching for food. A group of people rubbed their hands and rushed towards the wild rabbit. As a result, the rabbits were not caught and fell one by one into the thorny bushes. Especially for a few girls wearing suspenders and hot pants, their arms and legs were all scratched by thorns. Although the men had rough skin and thick flesh, they couldn't help but suffer some minor injuries. The only one intact is Xiao Qingran. At this moment, she was running away alone chasing the wild rabbit. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but feel jealous and resentful. Why are they all injured, but Xiao Qingran is fine? It must be because Xiao Qingran was lazy before and didn't catch wild rabbits with them. Humph, she loves to show off. Thinking that with her weak skills, she can catch rabbits. Lu Lili snorted with a resentful expression on her face. If she can catch that rabbit, I'll stand upside down and eat shit. Lu Jia lifted his eyelids with malicious intent and reached out to pull Lu Lili up from the thorns. Others also stood up one after another, patting the grass shavings on their bodies. Let's catch up quickly. If the rabbit runs away, we'll continue to be hungry. Lu Jihan glanced at everyone and chased after Xiao Qingran in the direction he was running. Yesterday they sustained their day with bread and water provided by the production team. If they can't find any food today, they will be hungry all the time. With so many people, it's impossible that they can't even catch a rabbit. At this moment, I really wish I had 2 more legs. No one believes that relying on Xiao Qingran alone can catch rabbits. On the live barrage, everyone was mocking Xiao Qingran for overestimating his abilities. Blame her for being lazy and slippery, not sociable, and not uniting with others. If Xiao Qingran can catch a wild rabbit, I will live stream eating raw crabs. If Xiao Qingran catches a rabbit, I'll write the name upside down. I don't expect Xiao Qingran to catch the rabbit, I just hope she doesn't chase the rabbit away. MD, Xiao Qingran is a fool. Just now everyone fell, why didn't she take the opportunity to knock down the rabbit? Besides causing trouble, what else can Xiao Qingran do? Expect her to catch rabbits. It's better to hope for rainbow rain in the sky. The drone has been following the landing team led by Ji Han. When they discovered Xiao Qingran's figure, they saw him holding a fat rabbit upside down in one hand and walking towards them. The 9 people looked at each person and rabbit in front of them, and couldn't help but open their mouths wide in amazement. Even on the barrage of the live broadcast room, there was a momentary blank. As the drone did not follow Xiao Qingran, no one knew how she caught the rabbit. But at this moment, rows of silent ellipses appeared on the barrage of the live broadcast. A few netizens who wanted to live stream eating raw crabs and wrote their names upside down now pretended to be grandsons. Xiao Qingran, you're really amazing. How did you catch this rabbit? A smile appeared on Lu Jihan's face, and his eyes were staring at the rabbit in Xiao Qingran's hand. Maybe I'm lucky. Xiao Qingran gave a faint smile and thrust the rabbit into Lu Jihan's hand. Let the rabbit be arranged by the captain, he said. The crowd once again showed an indescribable expression. Who can handle rabbits? Lu Jihan held the rabbit weighing about 7 or 8 pounds in his hand, and his gaze swept over several people's faces. They are all celebrities, although most of them may not be very famous, they are also used to being pampered. Lu Jihan asked again, but surprisingly no one stood up. Pushing back and forth, everyone ultimately shifted the blame onto Xiao Qingran. This rabbit was caught by Xiao Qingran, so don't pretend to be someone else's hand. She should handle it. This kind of righteous words directly laughed at the netizens before the live broadcast. Seeing Xiao Qingran's misfortune, why do I want to laugh so much? I'll move a small stool and wait for Xiao Qingran to make a fool of himself. If Xiao Qingran can clean up the rabbit, I'll stand upside down and eat shit. Although I was shocked that Xiao Qingran could catch a rabbit, asking her to deal with the rabbit was simply. Did you read it wrong? Did Xiao Qingran handle the rabbit? Didn't the rabbit handle Xiao Qingran? Ha ha ha. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Are you crazy about wanting to become popular? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Are you crazy about wanting to become popular? Don't worry about the online noise. Xiao Qingran casually carried the rabbit and arrived at the nearby seaside. At this moment, the drone somehow followed behind Xiao Qingran. Netizens watched as Xiao Qingran skillfully peeled off his skin, broke open his internal organs, and cleaned up a rabbit, leaving the barrage once again shrouded in mystery. When Xiao Qingran picked up the rabbit she had handled and met up with her teammates, she startled everyone's chins. Lu Shihan gave Xiao Qingran a firm thumbs up. Thank you for your hard work. Just leave the job of roasting rabbits to me. Xiao Qingran nodded and didn't say anything, sitting directly next to the fire that had already been set up. In no time, a burnt smell spread in the air. Everyone cast indescribable gazes on the rabbit meat that had been roasted into a lump of black carbon. Lu Jihan felt a bit embarrassed and poked with a wooden stick, saying, I may have disappointed everyone. This is my first time grilling meat. This. The camera was very face-saving and focused on the roasted black ball. On the live streaming barrage, netizens exploded. A barrage of ha-ha-ha was fired one after another. Lucian brand roasted rabbit meat, the hand-damaged party passed by. It's so immersive. If Lucian takes action, he knows if there is one. Can this lunch be considered a black door, ha-ha-ha. I, the land god, am a cow. I apologize to everyone. Lu Shihan's face turned black, full of shame and anger. He really didn't expect rabbit meat to be so difficult to roast. What should we do? Are we continuing to search for food now? Everyone feels a bit reluctant to waste such a big rabbit. Although everyone didn't say anything on the surface, they complained in their hearts that Lu Jihan wouldn't pretend anymore, causing them to starve and their chests to press against their backs. Just as everyone was about to leave and search for food again, Xiao Qingran suddenly walked up to the fire and picked up a black, whining ball of rabbit meat. Wait a moment, I'll see if we can still save it. Everyone looked surprised and disdainful. Just you. Don't think you can handle rabbit meat and grill it. Lu Jiehui showed a mocking expression. Lu Jihan's face was also a bit unsightly. It feels like Xiao Qingran was intentionally hitting his face. Others looked at Xiao Qingran as if they were watching the play, watching her wielding a dagger as she cut back and forth on the black ball. Netizens online were also shocked by Xiao Qingran's sudden operation. Damn it, what is Xiao Qingran trying to do? This bitch, you must be crazy about wanting to become famous. You can tell at a glance that she did it intentionally. If you want to catch people's attention, there's no need to be so limitless. TSK, everyone is still waiting to find new food to eat, but Xiao Qingran was so good that he wasted time on these little tricks. It's really sensationalist. Can't you be quiet for a while? Xiao Qingran ignored anyone and peeled off the burnt rabbit meat on his own. After processing it, she weighed it and found that there were still about 4 or 5 pounds of meat left. After baking, save some time, it's still enough for them to eat. Xiao Qingran skillfully strung a new branch and placed the rabbit meat on the fire to be extinguished, flipping it occasionally. The crowd who had originally planned to leave couldn't help but swallow their saliva when they smelled the scent of rabbit meat, and instinctively sat back in place. His eyes were fixed on the rabbit meat in Xiao Qingran's hand. Half an hour later, Xiao Qingran picked up the roasted golden rabbit meat from the fire. The crowd immediately gathered around. Xiao Qingran raised a faint sneer at the corner of his mouth and quickly distributed the rabbit meat to everyone. She left a rabbit leg for herself. Too delicious. I didn't expect Xiao Qingran to have such a skill. It's just a passing sight. We are fortunate. If we catch any prey in the future, we will leave it all to Xiao Qingran to handle. My teammates praise Xiao Qingran's grilled meat with every word you say. Lu Lily asked suspiciously while eating, Xiao Qingran, when did you learn to roast rabbit meat? Xiao Qingran used to be a careless and ignorant little girl who didn't work hard on her limbs, didn't distinguish between grains, and didn't understand anything. Not to mention grilled meat, put a chicken leg in front of her, she didn't even know that the chicken leg grew on the chicken body. Before, Xiao Qingran caught the rabbit using some unknown method, and it was so easy to clean it up. She felt that something was wrong. Now eating the delicious rabbit meat in her mouth, she felt even more unbelievable. If the meat was roasted by someone else, she wouldn't think there was anything wrong, but if it were Xiao Qingran, she would think there was something wrong. That's right, Xiao Qingran. When did you learn this craft? It hasn't been a year and a half, but you can't bake to this level. He Fanghua and Lu Lily looked at each other secretly, with a strong suspicion rising in their eyes. Didn't you learn for long? Why? Do you also want to learn from teachers? Xiao Qingran had a lazy expression and a faint tone. But I don't know if it's everyone's illusion, as soon as Xiao Qingran spoke, it made people shiver uncontrollably. Although it was summer and everyone was still in front of the fire, their bodies and hearts felt incredibly cold. Especially Lu Lily and He Fanghua, who were directly confronted by Xiao Qingran. The two of them felt something and suddenly couldn't breathe under the pressure. The heart seemed to be about to stop beating, unbearable to death. Of course, this comes from the majestic aura of the emperor. Not to mention two ordinary people, even veteran officials from several dynasties can scare out heart disease. You can't stop your mouth even if you have something to eat. If you don't want to eat, you can start your own business in the future. Chen Beiqin cast a mocking glance at He Fanghua and Lu Lily, threw away the bone in his hand, and sat next to Xiao Qingran in a pleasing manner. In the future, Xiao Qingran will be the person I am covering. When you speak, weigh it up for me. For a foodie, whoever can make him eat well on this island is his ancestor. In the future, Xiao Qingran will be our aunt. Wu Fei and Che Yi also joined Xiao Qingran's camp. These two are both 20 years old, just like Xiao Qingran, they are still students. It is a band of 5. Normally dressed in a style that no one would ever leave me, but now suddenly she surrounded Xiao Qingran with a smile. And me too. Jiang Mingwei finished his last bite and moved to Xiao Qingran's side. Me. Huang Yaowei swallowed the last bite of rabbit meat, took off the fisherman's hat from his head, and put it on Xiao Qingran's head. This is my acceptance gift, please accept it with a smile. The remaining Lu Jihan, Lu Lily, He Fanghua, and Lu Jiehui all had ugly expressions on their faces. They suddenly felt that the rabbit meat in their mouths was not fragrant anymore. We are all members of the same team, and in the future, our food will be handed over to Xiao Qingran. In return, we all need to protect her well. Lu Jihan made a gesture of plea to Xiao Qingran. Xiao Qingran was about to say something when her brain was scorching, and a familiar force suddenly appeared. She couldn't help but feel secretly happy, and her eyes instinctively looked at Lu Lily. For some unknown reason, Xiao Qingran suddenly regained his supernatural powers. At this moment, his mental strength was not very strong, but he was still enough to deal with the few people in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Things started to go wrong again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Things started to go wrong again at this moment. Lu Lili and the others were completely unaware that they were already in danger. He Fanghua looked at Xiao Qingran being held up by everyone with stinky feet and became dissatisfied with Lu Lili. It may not be so easy to find another chance to kill Xiao Qingran in the future. However, it's still a long time, and they have 2 people, so they don't believe that Xiao Qingran can always be so lucky. On this island, the food is not just barbecue. Half an hour later, everyone extinguished the fire, packed their backpacks, and planned to go nearby to find a water source. At this moment, a group of people suddenly emerged from the nearby forest, tightly surrounding 10 people. If you don't want to suffer, just voluntarily hand over all your identity cards. There are 20 people surrounding Xiao Qingran and them. These people are 13 men and 7 women. At this moment, their faces were filled with excitement. It's like a wolf meeting a fat sheep. What are you doing? It's only the second day of the live broadcast, and you're starting to grab your identity cards. Is it too early? Jiang Mingwei scanned the guests surrounding them with a disdainful expression, secretly winking at Lu Jihan. In the first 2 episodes, both started competing for identity cards on the last 3 days of the second week. In the first 10 days, everyone was gathering energy, storing food and water. What's going on? The production team has a rule that we can't grab cards in advance. Besides, let's have a surprise show. The show's not even better. Alright, stop writing and hand over all your cards. Otherwise, don't blame us for taking action. The man who was speaking was over 1.9 meters tall, with a body full of tendons and flesh. He was black and strong, with a fierce expression on his face, which was not easy to provoke at first glance. Lu Lili, He Fanghua, and Huang Yawei, the 3 women, were so scared that they almost cried. Their subordinates instinctively touched their identity cards. Even Lu Jiehui and Wu Fei, 2 men, couldn't resist the pressure and wanted to hand over their cards directly. The other few also looked wary. In this urgent and oppressive atmosphere, Xiao Qingran's mouth curved slightly. Lu Lili suddenly snatched He Fanghua's identity card and stuffed it into Black Gao's hand. Everyone was shocked and stunned by her lewd behavior. Including 20 guests gathered around. On the live barrage, many netizens directly used vulgar language. MD, what the hell is this woman doing? It's really a mysterious operation in reality. Lu Lili handed over He Fanghua's identity card without giving up, and then tugged at Xiao Qingran's arm. At this moment, Lu Jihan, who had reacted, immediately pushed away Lu Lili, with an ugly face that wanted to kill her. What do you want to do? Hand over all our cards so you can stay alone. He Fanghua, who had been in a state of confusion, suddenly regained consciousness and rushed forward to fight against Lu Lili. Ah, I fought with you. Why did you harm me so much? You slut. Why didn't you hand over your identity card? Whenever He Fanghua thought of being eliminated the next day, it was even more infuriating than killing her. Directly pounce on Lu Lili, press her under her body, use both hands to bow, and hit Lu Lili's face swollen into a pig's head. The nose that was crooked before will become crooked. Stop fighting, I didn't mean to. Ah, you scumbag, if I ruin my appearance, I'll definitely kill you. At this moment, Lu Lili could no longer care about her appearance and struggled to sit up, tearing apart from He Fanghua. Lu Jiehui tried several times to go up and save Lu Lili, but was pinned down by Jiang Mingwei beside him. The barrage of the live broadcast is all about vomiting, and this moving picture is floating. Fans who have always supported Lu Lili and He Fanghua dare not come forward now. Until the 2 of them were exhausted from fighting and fell to the ground. The tall black man approached and took away Lu Lili's identity card. Lu Lili collapsed and burst into tears. It's over, everything is over. The task of killing Xiao Qingran was not completed, and he was eliminated the next day. Her future career plans have been ruined. She never thought about handing over He Fanghua's identity card, only remembering that she couldn't control herself at the time. How could this be? Alright, you two have suffered such serious injuries, you can press the distress bracelet now. The tall black man watched with his own eyes as He Fanghua and Lu Lily reluctantly pressed the distress bracelet, and then happily stuffed the two cards into his backpack. On the live barrage, fans of tall black men cheered together. When Brother Li made a move, no one was his opponent. Li Go is truly the Olympic boxing champion of that year. If it were me, I wouldn't dare to confront him either. Alright, the first of this season is none other than Li Go. Qin Li, the remaining 8 people seem unwilling to hand over their cards. He Gao, also known as Qin Li. The captain of the other team that allied with him is called Qin Lu. The two had known each other before, and after meeting on the island, the two teams quickly reached a consensus and directly formed an alliance. With me around, they have to pay even if they don't pay. Qin Li confidently raised his chin and glanced at Xiao Qingran wearing a hat. Give me your card, hurry up. He impatiently pointed at Xiao Qingran. Lu Jihan suddenly stood up and patted off Qin Li's hand. He spoke coldly, are you going too far? Don't think that with too many people, we will be afraid. It's not that he wants to stand out for Xiao Qingran, but rather, he can't let these people defeat their team one by one, and eventually be eliminated, completely annihilating the army. What? You want to fight? Qin Likaka twisted his neck and provocatively hooked his finger at Lu Jihan, saying, come here, you come over. As long as you can beat me, how about I let go of your team? A group of people in the Qin Tower burst into laughter. With Qin Li's strength, even a boxing master would be defeated by him. Just like Lu Jihan, this little fresh meat can be slapped away by Qin Li as long as he raises his hand. Other celebrities may not be well known to everyone, but Qin Li, who transitioned from an Olympic champion to a martial arts star, is well known in the entertainment industry. Who would have thought that he would also participate in a survival program? Isn't this not leaving a way out for others? Lu Shihan's face turned white and his expression became serious. Although he went to the army for some time to experience. But compared to professional boxers, there is still a long way to go. Knowing that he couldn't beat Qin Li, he also wanted to put in a fight. Just as he was about to burn his bridges, a cold female voice came from behind. Captain, you step back, let me handle these small miscellaneous matters. Xiao Qingran suddenly walked out and stood in front of Qin Li. On the live barrage, I went crazy right now. Damn it, is Xiao Qingran crazy about wanting to go red? Who does she think she is? This woman has such a big breath. Is she mentally disabled? Dare to compete with Qin Li. Xiao Qingran is starting to make a name for himself again, won't he just die this time? If you want a hero to save America, you also need to see if you have that strength. I really admire Xiao Qingran. She's everywhere. P.S. Dear readers, please support the new book as much as possible. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Killing the Decisive Empress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Killing the Decisive Empress. TSK, are you going to fight me? Qin Li looked at Xiao Qingran with disdain and rolled his eyes. A group of people in the Qin Tower covered their stomachs and laughed until tears came out. Didn't you say that as long as you win, we'll let go of our team? Are you now backing out? Xiao Qingran looked at the tall and imposing Qin Li with a calm expression. Although Qin Li, who was 1.93 meters tall, was 20 centimeters taller than Xiao Qingran, who was 1.73 meters tall, standing in front of him made Qin Li feel a strange pressure. Are you looking for death? Qin Li suddenly felt a little restless, and the more he looked at Xiao Qingran, the more he became dissatisfied. Perhaps it was Xiao Qingran's fearless gaze that angered him. He agreed without hesitation, okay, as long as you can defeat me. After he finished speaking, he clenched his fists and attacked Xiao Qingran's fatal part. That ferocity seems to be about to kill Xiao Qingran directly. Lu Shihan, who had just realized what had happened, now had her heart in her throat. The other teammates were also sweating for Xiao Qingran. This is Qin Li. Among martial arts stars, they become famous through real combat. His kung fu in the entertainment industry ranks second, and no one dares to compete for first place. Xiao Qingran, is this really crazy? Everyone feels that Xiao Qingran is like an egg hitting a stone, and a mayfly shaking a big tree. On the barrage of the live broadcast, everyone was mocking Xiao Qingran for overestimating his abilities. I hope Qin Li can give Xiao Qingran a good lesson and teach her how to be a good person. However, the picture that everyone imagined did not happen. On the contrary, it was Qin Li who punched 3 times in a row, with fierce and powerful punches. Even so, I never touched a corner of Xiao Qingran's clothes. Everyone was stunned and stunned. The live barrage remained empty for 1 minute. Damn it! What situation is this? Xiao Qingran, is this taking a big pill? Is it so awesome? Qin Gu didn't perform well when Qin Li hit the 4th punch again. He became anxious because he didn't hit Xiao Qingran with the first 3 punches. As soon as he hit the 4th punch, a big flaw was revealed. Xiao Qingran's mouth curved slightly, waiting for this moment. She flew up and kicked him hard on the knee socket, while also avoiding his fist. Qin Li was caught off guard and kicked down by Xiao Qingran, half kneeling on the ground with an incredulous expression on his face. Take advantage of his illness to kill him. Xiao Qingran didn't give Qin Li any chance to catch his breath, so he jumped up and threw his elbow behind his neck, beating him to the ground. Then his fists rained heavily on his back. After punching about 30 or 40 punches, Qin Li suddenly flipped his eyes and passed out. There was a complete 2 minutes of silence throughout the room. Xiao Qingran stood up and glanced at Lu Jihan, who was as stunned as a chicken. He spoke softly to the Qin Tower and others who were still surrounding them. If you don't want to be like him, take the initiative to hand over your identity cards. On the live barrage, due to the reversal brought by Xiao Qingran, it went crazy again. This TM, am I blind? This is Xiao Qingran, to be weak, this is too violent. It must be Qin Ji's performance today was not right. Xiao Qingran is also too handsome. How impressive. Who is this girl? She can knock out the Olympic champion, it's so impressive. I'm done with it. Let's take a look first. Take a black turn. Yu Qingze appeared again with his phone in front of director Chen Hong. Needless to say, I just saw that Xiao Qingran has once again become a trending topic. Chen Hong's excited beard curled up. How long has it been? Xiao Qingran was able to make 2 hot searches within a day, which was so good that he even doubted life. Now, he is too lazy to pay attention to other guests and only focuses on Xiao Qingran. That's right, this hot search is very unusual. Xiao Qingran's program tiers Olympic champions by hand. Anyone who opens this title wants to click in and see what's going on. Not being hot is strange. Xiao Qingran is simply his money tree. The 1 billion yuan that Wei Xiao just added must be used on the cutting edge. I think we should add a little more interesting challenges in the program. Chen Hong was calculating with great enthusiasm. So, according to Wei Xiao's instructions, should we send Xiao Qingran a distress bracelet again and then send him Xiao Qingran's positioning system? Yu Qingze feels that doing so is unfair to other guests and a bit inappropriate. There's nothing we can do. Who wants him to be the father of the wealthy? Besides, the current Xiao Qingran is enough to attract our attention. Even if Wei Xiao doesn't speak up, our program team will find a way to send a new distress bracelet to Xiao Qingran. Chen Hong narrowed his eyes, looking cunning and calculating. Then there's no need to give Wei Xiao the system positioning. Even if they're fast, they can beat the program team's helicopters faster. Yu Qingze's intuition is that Wei Xiao's positioning of Xiao Qingran is definitely not as simple as it appears. I suddenly thought of a fun game. I'm going to add it to the show. Qingze, you're still young, so you don't have to worry too much about many things. What we need is ratings and traffic, and for the rest, just turn a blind eye. Chen Hong patted Yu Qing's shoulder with a meaningful smile. Xiao family. Xiao Yurua smashed a new phone again. When she arrived at the living room, she happened to meet Xiao Mai, the head of the Xiao family, who was about to leave. Dad, sister is on the trending list again. Xiao Yurua grabbed Xiao Mai's arm with concern, gently swaying and coquettishly saying, if this continues, how will she continue to stay in the entertainment industry in the future? She has always been a troublemaker. If so, don't worry about her. She has already left the Xiao family, let her fend for herself outside. Xiao Mai's tone was plain, and he no longer cared about Xiao Qingran, a fake daughter who had been raised for 19 years. However, no matter what, my sister used to be from the Xiao family. Others would surely say that our family didn't raise her well before. A young lady who knows how to hit people is so hilarious. Fake is fake. Something that cannot be put on the table. Bastard, if she dares to brag and deceive under the banner of the Xiao family again, I will not spare her lightly. Xiao Mai's face turned pale. He wished he could catch Xiao Qingran, beat her up, and throw her abroad. It would be best if he died of old age and did not interact with her. Dad, don't be angry. I don't think it's as good as this. You also sent me to the show. The eyes of the masses are bright. Xiao Mai's expression slowed down for a moment, and he touched Xiao Yurua's head with pity. Roa is still clever. As soon as you appear, her Xiao Qingran is nothing. Dad doesn't mind me being smart. It's okay for me to suffer a little bit for the reputation of the Xiao family. Xiao Mai looked at Xiao Yurua, who was so kind and sensible, and felt extremely happy and grateful. Dad will increase the investment and have the director arrange for another group of people to enter. For your safety, I plan to have the production team deploy a batch of materials and have your phone quietly delivered to you. You can keep in touch with the outside world at any time. Xiao Yurua couldn't help but feel secretly happy in her heart. Immediately, a plan came to mind for how to keep Xiao Qingran on the deserted island forever. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Sister Ran is so cowardly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Sister Ran is so cowardly. On a deserted island. A group of people in the Qin Tower looked incredulously at the eternal No1 in their hearts, knocked unconscious by a thin and weak-looking girl, collectively petrified. They seemed to have not heard Xiao Qingran's slightly threatening words. Until Xiao Qingran's delicate face suddenly appeared in front of the Qin Tower. The Qin Tower instinctively retreated every few steps, as if seeing a demon, with a slightly panicked expression. You. What do you want to do? He stared at Xiao Qingran with a wary and gloomy expression, his hands in a defensive fighting posture. Xiao Qingran raised her eyebrows in a leisurely manner and said, "Are you trying to have another fight with me?" Qin Lu couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of water and shook his head desperately. "No, I didn't." Joke, even Qin Li is not a match for Xiao Qingran. He is a person who has never even entered martial arts, and he can't escape in time. How dare he challenge Xiao Qingran? Now, Xiao Qingran was as terrifying as a raging beast in his eyes. Since that's the case, then you can immediately bring me all your identity cards. Xiao Qingran's tone was cold and his eyes were sharp. Not giving Qin Tower any extra opportunities. Qin Lu swallowed his saliva again and his gaze fell on his teammates. Team leader, we're not afraid of her. Our team is more than twice as many as theirs, so I don't believe it. If we go together, we won't be able to defeat them. A slightly chubby male guest finished speaking with a stern expression and nervously glanced at Xiao Qingran. When Xiao Qingran looked at him, he was so scared that he quickly retreated behind the Qin Tower and hid. If we don't ignore his trembling legs like chaff, everyone will applaud for his righteousness. Qin Lu gritted his teeth in an indescribable way, glanced at Qin Li on the ground, and suddenly shouted, "Everyone, run quickly." After he finished speaking, he turned around and ran wildly, ignoring even the good brother Qin Li. The two teams of guests behind him were still in a dazed state when he yelled at them, waiting for their reaction and preparing to run. I saw the Qin Tower, which had run out early, being dragged back by Xiao Qingran like a dead dog, pulling at the back collar and landing on both feet. Everyone's legs and stomachs were weak in fear, and there was no courage to run. The group of Lu Jinghan, who had already been shocked beyond description by Xiao Qingran, regained their senses and quickly blocked the only escape route, cooperating with Xiao Qingran. On the live barrage, there were all screams and stargazes. The number of people in the live broadcast room has increased from 30,000 to 40,000, directly reaching over 100,000, and the number is still increasing. Xiao Qingran's true NB. I will never scold Xiao Qingran again in the future. ITM went straight to become a fan. What is this fairy dying sister? YYDS. My mother asked me why I was kneeling and looking at my phone, and I just wanted to say, Sister Ran is really powerful. She has become a fan. If you don't want to be like him, just obediently hand over your identity card. Xiao Qingran casually threw the Qin Tower, which was almost ready to die of shame and anger, onto the ground. She glanced at Lu Jihan and said, "Captain, please go over and collect your ID card." Lu Jihan pursed his lips with complex eyes, nodded, and walked to the Qin Tower. He squatted down and took his identity card away. The other 18 guests who came with the Qin Tower were all hesitant to make a sound. As soon as Lu Jihan arrived, he shrugged and took the initiative to hand over his identification card. One by one, they are like little sheep, so obedient that they can no longer be obedient. Do you still need me to remind you to press the distress bracelet? Xiao Qingran's voice was like a talisman, startling 18 guests and a clever figure from the Qin Tower who was about to pretend to faint. They seem to be competing who can press faster. A few seconds later, except for Qin Li who had fainted, the two teams of people who came to besiege Xiao Qingran and his team all lit up their distress bracelets. Lu Lili and He Fanghua, who were hiding to watch the play, were now filled with resentment in their hearts. Xiao Qingran is so powerful, why didn't he take action earlier? This little slut is clearly deliberately trying to eliminate them. However, Xiao Qingran offended so many people at once. After going out, even if they don't take action, Xiao Qingran will definitely not be much better. At this moment, the sound of helicopter propellers came from above. Lu Lili and He Fanghua stood up with gloomy expressions. The eyes of the 19 people including Qin Tower suddenly lit up, as if they had seen a life-saving straw, and they ran under the helicopter. The pilot who came to pick up the person parked the helicopter in mid-air, opened the cabin door, and looked down, suddenly startled. Isn't there only 2 eliminated celebrities? The Qin Tower said nothing and quickly crawled into the cabin, clutching the hatch. Hey, who are you? I'm here to pick up 2 female celebrities. What are you doing up here? The driver looked at the Qin Tower, which was already sitting in the cabin, with a regretful expression on his face. Anyway, this helicopter can accommodate 3 people. I just left early. The Qin Tower towered in front of Xiao Qingran, facing the driver arrogantly. The driver wanted to say a few more words when 2 women with disheveled bodies and swollen faces crawled into the cabin. He had to first verify the information of the 2 people, confirm that it was correct, and then take away their distress bracelets. Seeing Qin Tower stubbornly refusing to leave, he reluctantly closed the cabin door and left with the 3 of them. Leaving the remaining 18 people in place, they were filled with indignation. On the live barrage, the Qin Tower was cursed very harshly. Many of his fans have expressed their desire to lose fans. Of course, there are also some netizens who criticize Xiao Qingran for his ruthless methods and unworthiness of being human. More netizens still support Xiao Qingran. After all, this is a survival program, not a game. Without means, how can we survive? Online, the topic of Xiao Qingran has increased by millions within a day. Some merchants saw the business opportunity and immediately sold out the same clothes, hats, backpacks, and even Xiao Qingran brand rabbit meat in a few hours on a certain shopping mall. At this moment, on the deserted island, Lu Jihan gave all 19 identity cards he had received to Xiao Qingran. Xiao Qingran generously took it and nodded at him. Seeing this scene, the 18 people who were still waiting for the helicopter to pick them up were all jealous to death, but they dared not reveal it. Are we really ignoring brotherly? Yeah, we've all left. Will that female demon head torture brotherly? Keep your voice down, if she hears you, you're dead. Brother Lu doesn't care if brotherly runs away first, let alone us. Besides, who dares to manage it? 18 people huddled together, whispering and occasionally sneaking a glance at Xiao Qingran. Deeply afraid that one of their actions would catch Xiao Qingran's attention. In just a few minutes, they felt like they were living a difficult life like years. Hey, big black guy. If you keep pretending, your teammates and allies will leave. Do you want to stay and work as a laborer for our team? Xiao Qingran put a pack of identity cards into his backpack and kicked Qinli, who was pretending to be lying dead on the ground. Everyone was startled and suddenly looked over, their eyes fixed on the person on the ground. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. All but oneself are enemies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. All but oneself are enemies. Who would have thought that Qinli was pretending to faint? Qinli, who pretended to be dead, was exposed by Xiao Qingran when suddenly a carp stood up in anger. He looked at Xiao Qingran, with dark clouds in his eyes and raging anger in his eyes. His lifelong wisdom was destroyed in the hands of the young girl in front of him. Now, he wished he could kill Xiao Qingran and shame her with snow. What's going on? I don't agree. Do you want to fight again? Xiao Qingran looked at Qinli with a smile on his face. Shaked her weak little fist. Qinli. He suppressed the pain in his back and walked step by step towards Xiao Qingran. The 18 onlookers all cheered Qinli from the bottom of their hearts. Praising Qin for being a true man. Whispering at the fleeing Qin Tower is a coward. Even on the barrage of the live broadcast, fans of Qinli were deeply moved by his actions. Just when everyone thought that Qinli was looking for Xiao Qingran to retrieve the venue, Qinli suddenly stopped just over a meter away from Xiao Qingran. Everyone looked at him puzzled. Qinli took off his backpack from behind and respectfully handed it to Xiao Qingran with both hands. His words were sincere and his face was sincere. There are 3 identity cards inside, and there is also an unopened bottle of mineral water. It's yours now. Everyone. Their eyes suddenly fell to the ground. Lu Jihan has already done it. After Xiao Qingran was defeated by Qinli, the few men together will fight. Even if they lose, they cannot lose the battle. Even if they are eliminated in the end, they cannot be seen as a scapegoat. However, looking at the art style in front of them, the few of them became disorganized in the wind. Xiao Qingran calmly took the backpack from Qin Li's hand and nodded in satisfaction. This kid is quite sensible and saved a beating. Qin Li extended his right hand friendly to Xiao Qingran and said, "You're very impressive. If there's a chance in the future, let's have a sparring. This is the respect of the strong towards the stronger. Your fists are very hard, and your boxing skills are also good, but you haven't laid a solid foundation. You need to practice more when you go back." Xiao Qingran clenched his fist and hit Qin Li's hand, but did not respond to the sparring. Qin Li is a character who can bend and stretch. She doesn't want trouble to continue in the future. Thank you for your mercy, I remember. I wish you the best. After Qin Li finished speaking, he decisively pressed the distress bracelet on his wrist. The expected scene did not occur. The fantasy bloodshed event was eliminated by Qin Li's operation. Some people are happy, while others are indignant. On the live barrage, all fans of Qin Li unanimously praised Xiao Qingran for his grandeur. As soon as the black men spoke ill of Xiao Qingran, they were immediately scolded and defeated. Being able to defeat Qin Li indicates that Xiao Qingran is not as clumsy and brainless as rumored online. At this time, he was still in the midst of black Xiao Qingran, and at first glance, he looked like a navy. As the sky on the island darkened again and there was a rhythm of rain, Xiao Qingran waved goodbye to Qin Li, who was about to leave, and then hurriedly went to find a shelter with his teammates. Along the way, everyone remained unusually silent. Even Lu Jiehui, who used to speak ill of Xiao Qingran due to Lu Lili, lowered his sense of presence and walked at the end of the team. After walking for an unknown amount of time, the sound of a loudspeaker suddenly came from the island. Lu Lili eliminated, He Fanghua eliminated, Qin Tower eliminated, Chen Yushuang eliminated. Qin Li eliminated. A total of 22 were eliminated, all of which happened to be personally eliminated by Xiao Qingran. After the broadcast, the team became even more silent. As she walked, Lu Jihan seemed to have made a decision and suddenly walked toward Xiao Qingran, saying, "I don't think I have the ability to continue serving as this captain. You should be the one to do it." The other few people suddenly stopped and looked at the two of them. Xiao Qingran refused, "You should take it for granted. When you have something to do, just call me." She didn't intend to win people's hearts and build her own team like in her previous life. After putting in a lot of effort, I even made wedding dresses for others in the end. Furthermore, human intentions are treacherous. Based on her years of experience as a superior, it is not necessarily that Lu Jihan does not really want to be this captain. It's just a matter of the situation. He spoke up voluntarily, perhaps just as a probe. Not just testing her, but also testing other teammates. After all, in the past, whether it was about food or eliminating two teams, it was all Xiao Qingran's efforts to turn the tide. He, as the captain, didn't do anything, which seemed a bit redundant. Lu Jihan looked at Xiao Qingran with complex eyes and just spoke. Xiao Qingran interrupted him directly, "Captain, there's no need to say anything more. We all recognize you." After Xiao Qingran finished speaking, he gave everyone a faint glance. Led by Chen Beiqin, everyone immediately nodded. Xiao Qingran was very satisfied. As long as everyone unites and avoids internal strife, she will have a way to lead everyone to the end. Not long after, the sky began to rain heavily. Everyone found a temporary mountain depression to take shelter from the rain. When the rain stopped, several hours had already passed and everyone was worried as it was getting dark. "It seems that I will be hungry again tonight." Huang Yaowei rubbed her hungry and deflated stomach, looking melancholy. "There's no way, where else can we find food at this time?" Jiang Minzhen sighed helplessly. Thinking of the fragrant rabbit meat at noon, I instinctively swallowed my saliva and glanced at Xiao Qingran. "Everyone, with every word you say and every word I say, complaints abound. Find a place and start the fire. I'll go look and see if I can catch the prey. Instead of complaining here, it's better to take practical action. It's still dark today. You're so dangerous alone, let me go with you." Lu Jihan stood up worried. Everyone looked at the two and suddenly felt a bit ashamed. "No need, Captain. You're here, they still have a backbone. Besides, I'll be faster alone." After Xiao Qingran finished speaking, she didn't give Lu Shihan a chance to refute, so she found a direction and left. "Everyone, look at me, look at you, no one knows what to say." And the two drones flying in the air, one above Xiao Qingran's head and the other following her behind her. In the live broadcast room, netizens watched as Xiao Qingran left alone to search for food, all worried and constantly sending barrage messages urging Xiao Qingran to pay attention to safety. After walking for a few minutes, Xiao Qingran immediately used his mental power to investigate the situation around him. With her current mental strength, she can scan a distance of up to 200 meters in a radius. This scan made her notice that not far away, two squirrels the size of their palms were searching for food. Xiao Qingran silently used his beast control technique to let two squirrels take her to search for food. On the live broadcast, what everyone saw was Xiao Qingran chasing two squirrels running in the forest. Netizens are asking questions one after another, wondering what Xiao Qingran is up to. After all, two squirrels with only a few ounces of meat are not enough for 8 people to eat. At this moment, the sunspot suddenly became active, constantly scrolling through the screen, mocking Xiao Qingran as a brainless vase. One person and 2 mice were walking in the forest for about a cup of tea when Xiao Qingran suddenly smelled a smell of grilled meat. At this moment, 2 squirrels jumped up and ran very fast. When Xiao Qingran caught up with them, he saw a group of people burning a fire and grilling meat by the small river 50 meters away. Xiao Qingran's eyes suddenly lit up and immediately drove 2 squirrels to lure some of the people away. In Xiao Qingran's eyes, except for her team, everyone else was an enemy. As long as you ensure that your teammates are not hungry, whether others have eaten enough, and how long they have been hungry, it doesn't matter to her. P.S. Just wanted to ask, is there any treasure you're looking at? Some should give a response. Type 1 in the comments section to check the code. Oh, end of this chapter.